Follow-up module. As a facilitator and trainer, sometimes questions if what we are teaching will have lasting impact because the trainer's job does not end after the training session. The behavior of people who bring us determine a large part of all work success. Let us know what do's and don'ts in follow-up module. The do's are: integrate your follow-up strategy in your training. Fix follow-up that fits your goals. Write hands-out reports, etc. directly afterwards. Set clear deadlines and be consistent yourself and reminds others. Have a clear task and responsibilities for each one, and keep the group interaction alive. For the don'ts: overwhelm participants with too many after the actual happening. Don't ask things that are not useful for your goals or the development of participants. Wait with tasks like reports, hands-out evaluation, etc. Lastly, give the feeling the training ended and thus your whole community. Follow-up items can be completed anywhere from a few minutes to 6 months following the training. The longer you wait, the more important to it is to keep track of what you need to do. Furthermore, follow-up items could include, among other things, collect and file feedback forms if you have used them, make digital pictures of your flip arts, composed a DVD from the pictures and files of visuals, handouts and digital pictures of the event, give or send a copy to every participant, write a report about the training, write a thank you messages to the organizations, deliver all your promises about answering questions and sending materials later on in emails. Send emails to your trainees with reminders or questions about if they are using the techniques you have taught them. Send them the letters in time if you had made a transfer session. Prepare for the follow-up. Normally take follow-up into account from the beginning when preparing a training session, as it is one of the last parts of training design studied. A session or an event will not be enough if one of the goals of your training is for participants to improve skills and or adopt a new attitude toward their profession. It is necessary to put what has been learned into practice and to do it repeatedly. As a result, there should be follow-up outlines, a set of post-session exercise to ensure that participants are engaged in putting the information into practice. During the sessions, supply trainees with paper and pens markers at the start of the session and encourage taking notes on what they find interesting. By linking, we attempt to insist on main components of theory and model, as well as crucial concepts to anchor learning. Several verbal and non-verbal cues are used to repeat these aspects. Use flip charts and other visual aids so that participants may apply what they've learned. At the end of the session, when sessions are done, try to get trainees to think of 3 to 5 critical element skills that they can take home and use right away. Following the evaluation comments, we distribute any handouts that are available and encourage trainees to think about what has been addressed further. Participants are also reminded that they can contact trainers if they have any more queries. The subject of discussion during the meeting: it is optional to educate learners about how long the trainer will be on the job. After the training session, 1.1 handouts and report. Putting in a couple of hours to prepare the session handouts and reports may appear to be a tedious process at first. However, the bargain is that it compels you to learn on your own, go over the session again and think about what worked and what didn't. The next time you do a comparable issue, extremely appreciate and will be able to greatly enhance the quality of the session. 1 point to trainees related actions. Deliver hands out within 2 weeks after the session, ideally at the end of the session. Encourage trainees to share their knowledge within their organization. Send a mail to remind trainees to put knowledge into action 1 month after the training session with a teaser, challenge or training related question. Repeat the operation the next month if trainees showed some interest. Interact with those who showed some interest on the previous point. Send a follow-up participant survey to get the impact of the training session for 2 to 6 months after the training.
Transfer of learning, the ability to transfer the skills, knowledge, and attitudes from one learning experience to another. Apply information learned from the previous situation to new situation. Types of transfer of learning. Number 1. Positive transfer. Positive transfer occurs when the previous subject facilitates new subject. The skills and knowledge acquired in one situation can be used, or it improves the performance of the learner in some situation. Example of positive transfer: skills in playing violin facilitate learning to play piano. Positive transfer operates at two levels. These are: lateral transfer. Lateral transfer occurs when the information is applicable to another subject at exact level. Vertical transfer. Like lateral transfer, vertical transfer occurs when knowledge is applicable to another subject and can be applied to higher level. Number 2. Negative transfer. Negative transfer occurs when learning of one task makes the learning of another task harder. It contrasts the other situation, which lead to negative impact on performance. Example of negative transfer: left-hand drive vehicles hindering the learning of right-hand drive. Number 3. Neutral/zero transfer. This refers to knowledge and skills that are not transferable. You cannot use the learnings from the previous context to the new. Zero transfer occurs when the two subjects doesn't have a relationship and one subject has neither positive or negative impact on learning the other. Example of zero transfer: knowledge of history in no way affects learning of driving a car or a scooter.
Measuring the impact of training or measuring the effects of training. Organizations have a variety of tools to help them evaluate the effectiveness of training and development programs. Surveys, discussions, quizzes, exams, and case studies are just some few examples. Each of these strategies gives data on performance outcomes to each management, which can be used to measure the ROI of these programs. One of the widely recognized as leading methods for evaluating the effectiveness or impact of training is the Kirkpatrick Evaluation Model. Professor Donald Kirkpatrick of the University of Wisconsin established the Kirkpatrick Evaluation Model for evaluating training in the 1950s. This is one of the most effective methods for assessing the effectiveness of customized corporate training programs, as it uses simple four-level approach. The four levels of measurement are listed below, along with the key indicators to look for at each level. Level 1. Reaction. The first step is to assess the reactions and responses of the learners to the training. Level 2. Learning. The second step entails assessing the knowledge and skills acquired during the program. Level 3. Behavior. Step 3 evaluates whether or if the training has resulted in a behavioral change. And Level 4. Impact. The final step is to assess the impact of the training on business objectives and outcomes. The Kirkpatrick's four-level training evaluation model, according to some professionals, may be reversed by beginning with the desired impact and result you want to get and working backwards. Variations of the Kirkpatrick model can be applied to produce a KPI, Key Performance Indicator, framework for your training. Let's take a look at each level of the model, including example of goals, KPIs, and how to best measure them. Level 1. Reaction. The goal for this stage is to determine how satisfied your participants are with your training. You also notice recurring themes or patterns, as well as possible areas for development as you go through the process. Examples of key performance indicators for this stage are participation rates, completion rates, and Net Promoter Score. How to measure. For qualitative data, it includes survey question for training effectiveness with open-ended question. For example, if you could improve anything about this training, what would it be and why? What topic or section did you find the most valuable? Would you recommend this training program to colleagues? What resources or support do you need to apply what you have learned? For quantitative data, It includes surveys in our questionnaire using a scale method. For example, on a scale of 1 to 10, how valuable did you find this training? Another example, on a scale of 1 to 10, how likely would you be to recommend this training program to a colleague? Level 2 Learning. The goal of the learning stage is to confirm that your training has reached its intended objectives, to identify the skills that your training can foster in learners, and to record any knowledge and or skills gained as a result. Examples of key performance indicators for this stage are acquired knowledge in our skills and transfer of training into daily performance. How to measure? Before and after the training, it's a good idea to test students in the major areas you wish to evaluate. This will make it clear how the training has benefited your learner in particular. For qualitative data, pre and post interviews with employees, questions might include: how confident are you in your ability to perform in your job since your training? And what did you learn from your training to help you perform at a higher level in your role? Another way to measure at this level would be through peer review. This could be done by the trainers or other participants. For quantitative data, this could include tests and examinations after the training, paper or digital ones, or assessments of learning projects. Level 3 Behavior. The purpose of the behavior stage is to determine whether and to what extent the employee's behavior has changed as a result of the training. How has the training changed their performance and general attitude? Examples of key performance indicators for this level. These are employee engagement and higher morale. How to measure? Behavior change is most commonly measured through observations and reviews, pre and post training. For qualitative data, this would include open-ended questions from observers such as: how have you put what you've learned in training to use in your job? How confident would you be teaching your acquired knowledge and skills to someone else? Do you feel like your behavior is different now than it was before the training? For quantitative data, it includes third-party observation and text mining, as well as analysis from email conversations or personal development plans. At this point, the trainee's return to work environment has a significant impact on whether or not they can put their new skills to use. If the new behavior is not supported by management and culture, it will most likely revert and be lost. Level 4 Results. The purpose of the final step is to assess how effective the training program was in producing results in your company. Results such as productions, efficiency, and customer happiness are frequently measured at this stage. Examples of key performance indicators for this level are employee retention, increased productivity and quality of work, increased sales, and customer satisfaction. How to measure? For qualitative data, this may include interviews or focus groups. An example for this, customers might be brought to a focus group and questions about their customer experience and how this has changed over time. Managers may be questioned and are interviewed to see if their employees have become more productive or produce higher quality work as a result of the training. For quantitative data, this involves conducting surveys to gauge customer and stakeholders' perceptions, comparing data and employees' turnover and retention, and comparing sales and profitability before and after the training. The following are the Kirkpatrick's evaluation sample forms.
Result Evaluation Overview. So what is evaluation? According to Gopal, Evaluation is a methodical and deliberate process of acquiring and evaluating data in order to guide learning, decision-making, and action. The evaluation of decisions is based on the study of information. It is systematic, gives trustworthy and dependable information, and is a valuable tool in collective decision. There are three main types of evaluation. Goal-based. This evaluation determines whether or not objectives have been met. SMART goals is recommended. And is a process-based. This evaluation examines the advantages and disadvantages of the events. Lastly, the outcomes-based. This assessment looks at the program's or project's larger implications and typically looks at what larger good was served as a consequence of the program or the project. There are 4 steps in evaluation. First is planning. This stage identifies which areas of activities to review, what type of information is required, and how to gather the information. Number 2, monitoring. This process involves gathering and documenting information. Third, evaluation. This is evaluating data and interpreting the findings. And fourth, making improvements. And identifying and prioritizing improvements, planning and carrying out actions, and monitoring and assessing work.
Also known as program evaluation, evaluation research is a common research design that entails carrying out a structured assessment of the value of resources committed to a project or specific goal. It often adopts social research methods to gather and analyze useful information about organizational processes and products. Characteristics of evaluation research. 1. Research environment. Evaluation research is conducted in the real world, that is, within the context of an organization. 2. Research focus. Evaluation research is primarily concerned with measuring the outcomes of a process rather than the process itself. 3. Research outcome. Evaluation research is employed for strategic decision-making in organizations. 4. Research goal. The goal of program evaluation is to determine whether a process has yielded the desired result. 5. This type of research protects the interests of stakeholders in the organization. 6. It often represents a middle ground between pure and applied research. 7. Evaluation research is both detailed and continuous. It pays attention to performative processes rather than descriptions. 8. Research process. This research design utilizes qualitative and quantitative research methods to gather relevant data about a product or action-based strategy. These methods include observation, tests, and surveys. Types of evaluation research. Formative evaluation. Formative evaluation or baseline survey is a type of evaluation research that involves assessing the needs of the users or target market before embarking on a project. Midterm evaluation. Midterm evaluation entails assessing how far a project has come and determining if it is in line with the set goals and objectives. Summative evaluation. This type of evaluation is also known as end-term evaluation of project completion evaluation, and it is conducted immediately after the completion of a project. Outcome evaluation. Outcome evaluation is primarily target audience oriented because it measures the effects of the project, program, or product on the users. Appreciative inquiry. Appreciative inquiry is a type of evaluation research that pays attention to result-producing approaches. Action research. According to Van Baaren, 2019, action research design is an educational research involving collecting information regarding current educational programs and outcomes, analyzing the information, developing a plan to improve it, collecting changes after a new plan is implemented, and developing conclusions regarding the improvements. Individual research. Individual action research is research conducted by one teacher or staff member. This type of research is conducted to analyze a specific task. Collaborative research. Collaborative research involves a group of people researching a specified topic. With collaborative research, more than one person is involved in the implementation of the new program. School-wide research. Action research programs are generally created from a problem found within an entire school. When a program is researched for an entire school, it is called school-wide action research. District-wide research. District-wide research is used for an entire school district. This type of action research is usually more community-based than the other types. According to McCombs, 2021, the research design is a framework for planning your research and answering your research questions. Creating a research design means making decisions about the type of data you need, the location and timescale of the research, the participants and sources, the variables and hypotheses, if relevant, the methods for collecting and analyzing data. 5. Most common research design types. 1. Descriptive research design. This is a theory-based design, where the researcher is primarily interested in describing the topic that is the subject of the research. It is applied to case studies, naturalistic observations, surveys, and so on. 2. Correlational research design. Just as its name suggests, correlational design allows the researcher to establish some kind of a relation between two closely related topics or variables. 3. Experimental research design. Whether it is a field experiment, a controlled experiment, or a quasi-experiment, this is one of the research design types that establishes a relation between the cause and effect of a particular happening. 4. Diagnostic research design. Diagnostic research is one of the research design types that aims to examine the underlying cause of a certain situation or phenomenon. 5. Explanatory research design. Again, the name is self-explanatory. Explanatory research design is used to further expand, explore, and explain the researcher's ideas and theories. Questionnaire design process. 1. State the information required. 2. State the kind of interviewing technique. 3. Decide the matter/content of individual questions. 4. Overcome the respondent's inability and unwillingness to answer. 5. Decide on the structure of the question. 6. Determine the question language/phrasing. 7. Properly arrange the questions. 8. Recognize the form and layout of the questionnaire. 9. Reproduce the questionnaire. 10. Pre-test the questionnaire. 11. Finalize the questionnaire.